Alright guys, Wyld Noir here. I know it's been a while. This video, as you can see, is not about Kenshi. That one should be out a bit later tonight. Let me turn down my volume a little. And this game right here is called Reassembly. I've been playing it a bit since I got it. Pretty fun. It's a sandboxy sort of space game. And you can build your own ships, and I mean, like, you build them piece by piece here, as you see. You basically just roam around the universe, taking out other ships, expanding your territory, things like that. And there's also other players' ships and fleets that you have to fight against. They're not real time. This isn't live multiplayer or anything like that. It's all based off of there's wormholes on the map, which are shown here, and basically if you want to upload your fleet, you go to one of those and you get to upload it, and then it'll be in other people's games. But yeah, so that's Reassembly. I'll just be playing this in the background as a bit of footage to watch while I basically talk throughout most of this video. So if you're more interested in the game, then I will probably be doing a video on this in the future, and this one probably won't be for you. But something seemed to change here. Well, whatever it was. Let me get on to what this video is about. Basically, it's a little bit of an update to tell people where I've been and what's going on and stuff like that. And to also let you guys know that there will be more coming in the future, as I promised a while back. But so I guess the first bit of news is that I'm moving house, and that's mainly why I haven't been able to get back to you guys on anything or make more videos. It's been a pretty big process to find a house that would actually work in my location, because I don't have a car or anything. I need to find someplace closer to work so I can still work and, you know, get paid. And that's also been the other bulk of my time, has been work. But yeah, so I'm moving house, and that gets finalized on the 1st, and then I'll be able to start moving in furniture and the computer and all that, and internet is going to be installed on the 2nd, so that won't be a problem. We don't have to wait for that. Basically, as soon as this system is set up there and I'm, you know, sleeping there, eating my meals, all that, and all moved in, then I'll be putting up another video, probably with just a small update to let you guys know, and gameplay footage. And that'll probably be on, well, I kind of want to let you guys decide here in the comments today. And I do have a Kenshi video coming up tonight that I already have all filmed, and I'm gonna edit, and it was the last episode from my previous session that I never actually got around to editing. And other than that, I do plan to be streaming pretty soon. Well, after I'm all set up and everything, I'm going to be using my laptop screen as a second monitor, which, well, I guess we'll see how that one turns out. I don't know if it'll work or not. But I'll be streaming all types of games, and that should be fun, because I can actually get some live feedback from people. Although I don't expect a whole lot of people to show up at first, I'll still do it just so that, you know, I can get into the streaming scene a little. And, oh, Kenshi has had some huge updates, speaking of which, and they're all in the 0.74 update of the game, which isn't technically released yet, but it's on their sort of experimental build, they call it, that people can try out if they want to test out the game, send them some feedback. It's a little buggy, okay, really buggy, and crashes on a lot of people, so that's the main reason why I haven't been playing it. But if you guys want to check it out, or want me to check it out, then yeah, just let me know, and I'll start using the experimental version and just keep what we are currently going through on a different save and all that. But I had a note here for all of what they updated. So hang on, you're gonna see the pause menu for a bit. They had a new race called the Shek, which are like bone people or something like that. It's pretty crazy looking, definitely like alien looking, and pretty awesome. They have slavers, better graphics. There's a huge update for that. They updated to DirectX 11, which makes games look pretty much better on the whole, but also sometimes cause bugs when they first implement. So, oh, and there's another race called the Hive Men, which is a working title, and they're incoming, but not in the 0.74 version yet. Maybe I'll throw up some images for those. If not this video, then the next during the Kenshi video, I'll probably throw them in the description. But yeah, I also have more games that I want to do. A list right now that you can kind of just sort of vote on, I guess, is The Long Dark, GTA 5, Shadow Warrior, Spec Ops: The Line, Reassembly, which I'm playing right now, Ruse, Obscure, which is a horror game, and I played way back when it was new, back on the PS2, so a little bit of outdated graphics, but still great. Keeper RL, which is a pixel-based game that I definitely want to touch on and should be a lot of fun. Half Minute Hero, and Populous the Beginning. Those are definitely on the list for games that I want to cover. As far as the order goes, I kind of want to leave that to you guys, but if I don't get enough feedback, then I'll just sort of do it in, I guess, the order I just listed off or something. In the meantime, I'd like if you guys would follow the Facebook page, which I'll link in this description and probably every video's description if I haven't already done so far. And I guess for now I could show you a little bit more about Reassembly, because that was pretty much all the news that I had to cover to update you guys basically on what's been going on. So if all you came here was for what's been happening and you're not really interested in this game, then that's fine. You can go ahead and leave now, and I guess I'll see you guys in my next videos. For everybody else, I want to go over a little bit more of what Reassembly is, so you guys have a better idea of whether or not you want to see more of it. And of course, you could always just look up other videos, but I'd much prefer if you watched mine and found out that way. So right now, I'm a bit of a slow lumbering thing. I made this thing like the dreadnought of my fleet of ships. It is huge, it has ungodly amounts of firepower, and therefore it is slow, and other than some protection at the front, it's pretty like concentrated fire that breaks my shields will take me down pretty quickly from anywhere besides the front. But along the same line, you can see two cans out the front here. Let me zoom in a bit better. These two cans right here, they're fixed position guns, and they do a lot of damage. So you basically want to have the front towards your enemy at all times in this ship anyway. And you may think that's common sense, and you'd probably want to do that for most ships, but really, as long as you don't have fixed position guns, then you might not want to. You want to basically put your most maneuverable or most gun side towards the enemy, or most armored even. And sorry, right here is the all the designs that I've made for my fleet. I was just checking them for a better example, but for some ships, you may just want to zip past them like that guy did right there and just strafe and run like that. So facing forward towards the enemy, not always the best plan, but in this ship, definitely is. But this ship also kind of relies on a fleet, which I have not made, and I sort of just went out into space to do this video without a fleet. So I'm kind of unprotected, but all these things you see streaking through the, well, I guess not air, but through space, these are missiles, and I have, wrong one, a lot of missiles. Basically, all of those, all of those, all of those. There we go. Make the shield smaller. All of those, just lots of missiles. And the reason that I wanted to focus on them for this ship was because I can fire those, and I don't have to be aiming at the person that they'll go for. So it makes it pretty nice when I can only really focus on one enemy with my main guns at a time. There's also things for, let me look at the bindings here. I know this looks like a bit of a mess because I have so many guns, but there's guns for point defense, which you can actually assign more if you want. Like, I do it with the lasers here because these are really weak lasers, but they fire really far, so I think they make great point defense because, I mean, lasering a missile out before it gets to you is much better than trying to shoot wildly at it with as much guns as you can. And then you can also put things onto auto fire, which the computer will automatically target enemies and fire for you. And then you have right and left mouse fire, and I never really use middle mouse for your tertiary guns because I think left and right are enough. But if you have a design for a ship where it has more firepower than it does generators for energy, which you can see right here, if I fire all my guns at once, it doesn't even really go down, so I don't mind spamming. But if you can't do that, then I guess tertiary guns would come in handy so that you could fire forward-facing guns with those, and then fire your scatter cannons and all that sorts of stuff with your left mouse button, and just stuff like that. I don't know. It's really whatever you want. This game is very sandboxy, and I love that about it. At the same time, you sort of feel like you don't have much of a purpose out there, but there is a bit of a tutorial / quest aspect to it in that the tutorial teaches you that if you take out enemies, because there's like 4 enemy factions, which I'll show you now actually. Not 4, way more than 4. Why did I say 4? Basically, just gonna make a new save. Here we go. There's 7 factions, and normally you only start out with this one, which is like the most basic and very good all-around sort of ships and parts. And then I was playing this one, which is very plant-based and resource gathering and stuff like that. And each faction has different parts, and the parts all have different values. Like these ones and these ones are very heavily armored. These ones and these ones rely more on shields. Just different stuff like that. And I'm going to go back into that save, but I am going to change my current ship to something else. Let's see, what should I make it? I'll make it the Valiant Rose, which was one of my earlier ship designs. So when you change ship designs, which you can do just that easily, just swap it out, or build a whole new one, you lose all of your parts except for like your command pod and any other parts that were already in the same spot. So if you're changing from like this, which is a pedal drone, which has 4 cannons and then some other parts, to this, which is pedal drone 2, which is just lasers instead of cannons, all that's really going to happen is your cannons go away and are replaced by lasers slowly over time. It looks really cool when it's happening. Like, it might have happened a bit too fast to see there, but like, whenever you change, you can actually see the parts like build up. They come out as lines, like the outline, and they slowly build up over time. It looks really cool. But this ship, I focused more on speed over anything. I did have an experiment with the forward-facing cannons, but this ship really isn't all that strong, if I'm completely honest. What else did I have here? A lot of point defense. I wanted to make sure that I had more of that than anything, and all these lasers should be on. Yeah. There we go. So now everything else is on auto fire, and it's just aim your guns and shoot at things. I think somewhere in between I had changed that just to experiment with, and I never changed it back, which is why it was like that. But anyway, this thing was supposed to be more of a speedy sort of like Corvette fighter, and I think it turned out pretty well. A lot of backwards facing thrust, whereas turning circle and reverse thrust isn't very strong. Not a whole lot of stopping power there for considering how much thrust you have. And let me disable the auto zoom. I find it really annoying, but the game does have a sort of like automatic zoom in effect that I guess makes for a more cinematic battle, but to me it just seems a little more annoying. But yeah. So that's the gist of Reassembly, is you start out with very little, and then you build up your faction, and eventually try and take over your local universe. And I guess once you've done that, you can go ahead and teleport to a new universe using the wormholes, and start all over, basically. And each new universe, despite having the same 7 factions within them, you'll see a lot of others by, like right there, the person's name was One, I guess. There we go. Snipe Star by A. Hoffland, which is all up in this corner here. I'm not sure if you saw. But, yeah, in each universe, there's a whole bunch of, like, nameless factions that the game generates for you, which are just composed of other players' ships randomly. And these are totally different from when you upload your fleet, because when you upload your own fleet through a wormhole, you get one of these in somebody else's game, which is called an agent, and it's just, well, basically what I said. It's a fleet of other player-created ships, and I'm going to go fly into one, although they'll probably kill me pretty quick. Death isn't a huge penalty in this game right now. I'm not sure if they'll ever change that, but right now I think it's in a good place because you die, and these guys are definitely kitted out. And you basically get respawned at the nearest ship with a factory block, which is how you make more ships. And yeah, you can design your own ships. You can design fortresses as well, which is what this is, which I called Gaia. And when you die, or when you change designs rather, you turn into the command block, and it slowly builds up each piece that was around it. And I was a little too close to enemies, so changing was probably a bad idea. But when you respawn as a fully built version of your design, compared to if you changed blueprints. And this thing, the Gaia, is a automated station, mainly for gathering resources. I did a ring of shields around the center area so that if this thing is attacked, there's more guns in here that are a little stronger, and hopefully they'll take out anybody trying to destroy me, or destroy the station rather. There's missiles on the outside of the station, but other than that, and a few of these dinky little station batteries, there's not really much in the way of attack. One of my first station designs was Lilyhammer Station, and I tried to make like all of these like flower-based sort of things or stuff like that, because this is the plant race after all. And Lilyhammer Station, while really early made really early on, and therefore pretty small, it's actually more of like a battle station sort of thing. It only has 2 factories for making people and 4 solar generators and a whole lot of missiles and guns. So this is more of like a frontier space, sort of like on the edge of your borders station for making more troops on the edge of the battlefield and for defending your lands. At least that's how I thought of it. And I made the Pollen Maker, which is like entirely missile ship. It's just ridiculous amounts of missiles. And then I realized that I could stack a lot of solar generators together, and just like, they are cheap as hell right now, which is ridiculous, because if you do the design like I'm currently building right now or similar, then you just regen a ridiculous amount of resources, which are those right down there. And this was based off of Sunflower that I retrofitted, which was basically just a little bit of resource generation and a factory, but other than that, it's not really, like, the Sunflower is a really outdated design. In fact, I should probably get rid of it, but I don't know, never have. But this thing, if it ever builds up, which might take a while, so I might just go die, it has a ridiculous amount of solar generators, and it just generates resources, like, I don't even know how to put it other than ridiculous. It is obscene how much resources you make. And with your resources, as a player, you can put ships up into your child spawn order, as it's called, and you'll make ships. And and in fact, I'll do that for 2 of the cheapest ships for when I die here, so I can show you guys. But yeah, since I have a factory block on here, I'll build ships, and since I have ridiculous amounts of resource generation, I can build a lot of ships. And in the case of, like, earlier, there we go, I died, so I'll come back with a fully built version of this. In the case like earlier, as I was saying, yeah, that's it, by the way. And there's the resource rate, which, like I said, is really ridiculous. But, right, as I was saying, in the case of earlier, where I had the Dread Rose, but without any fleet, I'll usually just respawn as one of these and let it go ahead and build up a fleet for me, and then change to the Dread Rose, and still, I'll keep all these ships. And it kind of makes this faction, like, really easy to use. Early on, they're pretty hard, actually, to, like, get up all the resources that you need to buy upgrades, which are shown here. But I won't get into that now. If I make another video, which I probably will, then I'll get more into that. But, let's go back into the Dread Rose. I think that actually covers pretty much everything for Reassembly. So, yeah, you go around, you get blown up like that, and it's a very sandboxy, make your own story out of it sort of game. And I don't think I have much more to say other than that. I find it really fun. I think it might be more fun to play than to watch, but it's a really cool game, and I'm running at full graphics, of course, but honestly, I've tried to, I've looked at it at least with turned down graphics, and it doesn't look that bad. It really doesn't. It looks pretty good at lower levels still, but on high graphics, it looks shiny. Like, everything has a shine or bloom effect to it. Like, your entire ship has a bloom around it that tells you, like, this is your territory, and your other ships also do it. And that's reflected on the map, which I need to explore more of. I only just got into this version of the universe. But anyway, I think I've gone on enough about a game that I really wasn't going to cover in this video, but ended up doing anyway. So that was all the news I needed to do, and I covered a bit of this. Let me know what game you guys want to see next, whether it's this, or just more Kenshi, or maybe change it up a bit and play one of those other games. I'll probably leave the list that I mentioned in the description, and you guys can go ahead and, like, look those up at your leisure. If you've heard of them before, then you already know what to expect, and then just expect the whole Wyld Noir brand of humor on it and stuff like that. But that won't be until I fully move house and all that. So, I think that was everything. I'll put that Kenshi video up sometime tonight, and then I'll get back to you guys from my new house. Alright. It's been fun, and Wyld Noir out.